I both recently made separate trips to Saudi Arabia in part to discuss the sale. Let me outline a few of the reasons why this defense package is so important and historic and how it will advance U.S. national interests. This sale will send a strong message to countries in the region that the United States is committed to stability in the Gulf and broader Middle East. It will enhance Saudi Arabia's ability to deter and defend against external threats to its sovereignty. It will advance interoperability between the air forces of our two countries through joint training and exercises. And lastly, this agreement will positively impact the U.S. economy and further advance the President's commitment to create jobs by increasing exports. According to industry experts, this agreement will support more than 50,000 American jobs. It will engage 600 suppliers in 44 states and provide $3.5 billion in annual economic impact to the U.S. economy. This will support jobs not only in the aerospace sector, but also in our manufacturing base and support chain, which are all crucial for sustaining our national defense. I also want to note that this sale was carefully assessed under the U.S. government's conventional arms transfer policy. This policy requires such sales be deemed in the national security interest of the United States, are consistent with the country's legitimate security needs, and support U.S. regional security objectives. With this agreement, the United States and Saudi Arabia have accomplished a historic achievement in our long-standing security partnership, a partnership that furthers security and stability in the Gulf region. Our long-standing security relationship with Saudi Arabia and other partners in the region has been a primary pillar of regional security for decades. And this sale further illustrates the firm commitment of the United States to the security and stability of the Gulf region. I'll now turn it over to Jim Miller, who has more to say on the details of the sales package and how it advances U.S.-Saudi military-to-military interests. After that, Jim and I will be happy to take your questions. Sure.
Thank you, Andrew, and good afternoon and happy holidays to everybody. Let me start by reiterating that the United States is firmly committed to the security of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, as we have been for nearly 7 decades, and that more broadly, the United States and Saudi Arabia have a strong mutual interest in the security and stability of the Gulf. Close cooperation between our militaries is central to that security and stability, and we are really announcing today the most recent example of that cooperation. On December 24th in Riyadh, the United States and Saudi Arabia finalized the Letter of Offer and Acceptance, or LOA, for the purchase of 84 F-15SA aircraft, and as Andrew said, for the upgrade of an additional 70 F-15S aircraft to this SA configuration. And this government-to-government or foreign military sale is valued at $29.4 billion. I'd like to say just a few words about the capabilities that are under consideration. This aircraft, the F-15SA, will be the most capable and versatile aircraft in the Royal Saudi fighter inventory, and indeed it will be one of the most capable aircraft in the world. The F-15SA will have the latest generation of computing power, radar technology, infrared sensors, and electronic warfare systems. As one example, the F-15SA will be equipped with an active electronically scanned array radar, or AESA. This radar includes the latest technology and will ensure that Saudi Arabia has the capability to operate against regional air threats. The sale also includes AMRAAM and AIM-9X air-to-air missiles, which provide both radar and infrared guided capability. The F-15SA will be able to strike targets day or night in all weather with a variety of precision-guided munitions. The air-to-ground weapon capability includes laser-guided and GPS-guided weapons, along with missiles that can attack ground-based radars and missiles, the Harpoon, in particular specialized for maritime attack capabilities. The communication systems of the F-15SA will allow the U.S. Air Force and Royal Saudi Air Force to operate effectively together in the same airspace. And the system's interoperability will also allow both countries to participate in coalition training, which is a priority for both of our countries. And in fact, this F-15SA package includes not just aircraft and munitions, but the training and logistics support that Andrew talked about, and it's a very robust package. Much of the Saudi training on the F-15SA will occur alongside U.S. forces, This will enhance our already strong defense relationship, and approximately 5,500 Saudi personnel will be trained through 2019, 5,500 through 2019, further strengthening the bonds between our forces and between our countries. I provided just a very high-level overview of the F-15SA's impressive capabilities, and I know that the Air Force and the Boeing Company would be glad to offer a lot more details. As Andrew said, the U.S.-Saudi security relationship has been a pillar of regional security for decades, and this F-15SA sale demonstrates the firm commitment of the United States to the Kingdom and reinforces our mutual commitment to security and stability in the Gulf. And with that, Andrew and I would be pleased to take your questions.
Yeah, so you, Andrew, you said send a strong message. This sends a strong message to countries in the region that the U.S. is committed to security. You didn't mention any, I presume you mean both friends and foes. I'd like to ask you about two countries that are not mentioned, both of which begin with I, Israel and Iran. One, on Israel, how easy was it to overcome any sensitivity that they might have about this sale? Does it affect their their advantage that you seek to preserve? And then on Iran, you didn't mention it, but presumably that is the biggest threat to the Saudis in the region. Is that your thinking? Do these planes come equipped with like a map leading to Iran and have Israel like blacked out? What's the thinking? What's the specific message to Iran that the sale sends?
Well, I'll let Jim talk about what maps are equipped on the aircraft, but on the Israel point, let me just say that by law, all sales to the region must be evaluated for the impact on Israel's qualitative military edge. We conducted that assessment, as I mentioned during the congressional briefing, during the briefing last year to discuss the congressional notification. We conducted that assessment, and we are satisfied that this sale to Saudi Arabia will not decrement Israel's qualitative military edge. As far as regional threats, aircraft are a platform that lasts for decades. So they're designed to address both current security threats as well as threats that may emerge down the road as well. So these aircraft will be delivered over the coming years, and are a long-term commitment of the United States to Saudi Arabia's security.
So I can't get you to use the word Iran. It's only 4 letters.
As I mentioned, it's designed to allow Saudi Arabia to address threats to its sovereignty, and we believe this aircraft is able to provide that capability.
But where do you see that threat coming from?
Well,
right now, at this specific moment in time?
Well, as you know, the Middle East right now, there's a number of threats. They've had border security issues. They have threats in the Gulf as well. And clearly, one of the threats that they face, as well as other countries in the region, is Iran. But it is not. This is not solely directed towards Iran. This is directed towards meeting our partner Saudi Arabia's defense needs.
Do you have anything to add?
I think Andrew covered it very well.
Welcome to the State Department briefing.
Just the same question, but a little bit differently. The timing of this. Obviously, you said the deal was struck, I think, December 24th. Today is a day where there's a lot of news about this standoff with Iran at the Strait of Hormuz. Can you definitively say that there's no connection, even in the announcement today?
Well, I'll be perfectly honest, we've been planning this announcement since the deal was struck, before the latest tensions in the Straits of Hormuz. And this deal was first, we've been talking with the Saudis about how to provide for their air power needs for a number of years. And as I noted, I announced this congressional notification of this package last year. So we did not gin up a package in response to current events in the region, but this is part of a long-standing discussion with our Saudi partners about how to best meet their needs. And we are announcing it because the LOA was signed on Christmas Eve, which wouldn't have been the right time to announce it. Okay.
Let's Still here, one more Pentagon guest.
Amy Butler from Aviation Week. I'm curious if you can say for us, did they decide to go with the GE engine or did they go with the Pratt engine? Also, what is the delivery timeline? And has Saudi Arabia expressed any interest in some of the add-ons that Boeing has proposed that add potential internal weapons carriage, stealthy characteristics for the future for their fighter fleet?
Let me take the question about delivery first. We expect the first delivery of the F-15 SA of the new aircraft in early 2015, and expect the upgrades of the F-15S to the SA configuration to start in 2014. That's the expectation now. Of course, schedules are as schedules are. With respect to the internal capability of the aircraft, it has very substantial capabilities. I'll give you just a little bit more in terms of I mentioned some of the munitions. The HARM anti-radiation missile that goes against radars for precision strike capabilities. We've got the Joint Direct Attack Munition, JDAM. Also the Paveway, which has an analogous capability. The Harpoon anti-ship missile. A very capable system called the sensor fused weapon. And for the defense people in the room, with the wind-corrected munitions dispenser, which is just an incredibly capable system against moving vehicles, and of course air-to-air AMRAAM and AIM-9X capabilities as well. So very significant capabilities. There's always the possibility that the Saudis would ask for more. This provides them everything that they asked for in their letter of request, and I know we have ongoing discussions that where something else could be provided in the future.
Okay, and then on the engine, did they go with the GE or the Pratt?
I would like to defer that to the Boeing company.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about if any conditions were put on this sale, considering Saudi Arabia is an important member of the GCC countries, considering the situation that happened in Bahrain recently, whether this use can also be applied to other countries that Saudi Arabia is part of, or this purely for the use of Saudi Arabia just in case, for its own defense?
This was a sale to Saudi Arabia, and it is designed for Saudi defense needs. That being said, we are interested in working with all the Gulf nations in developing a regional security architecture that will enable them to meet the challenges and threats posed in the region. However, this is a sale to Saudi Arabia that will be used by the Saudi Air Force in order to defend its sovereignty and borders.
Well, I think the question, though, is related to the fact that the Saudis, as part of the GCC, sent people into Bahrain to put down these. So I think her question is, are there restrictions on this so that the Saudis can't kind of, loan them out or send them for use against protesters in allies of Saudi?
Under U.S. law and regulation, any attempt to transfer weapons to any other country requires our approval. Since they've not obtained these aircraft yet, there has been no such request made. And indeed, if they wanted to transfer these aircraft to any other Gulf partner, they would need our approval to do so.
I don't think it's a question of transferring. It's a question of, if Bahrain, as part of the GCC, or some other country as part of the GCC, requests assistance, and that assistance would include, this is obviously very hypothetical, but it would include Saudis sending planes to Bahrain, not transferring them to the Bahrainis, but using them in Bahrain. Are there any restrictions like that?
I'm not going to get into highly speculative hypothetical, particularly when these aircraft are not going to be delivered for until at least 2015, as Jim said. But our common understanding with the Saudis is that these aircraft are to help with their security needs and to protect their sovereignty.
Was there anything in the Saudi request that wasn't granted?
Well, as Jim mentioned, there was a letter of request, and all that was in the letter of request was met in the letter of acceptance.
Are these planes more sophisticated than the planes you are going to sell to Iraq?
I'll let Jim take that one.
As you know, we're looking to sell F-16s to Iraq. Different set of capabilities The F-15SA is a terrific capability that includes some of the best attributes of the F-15s that we have in our inventory, and some things, including this radar, that really go beyond what we've had for ourselves